On September 9, 1963, Sonnie Hereford Sr. and his son, Sonnie Hereford IV, walked the path along Governor Drive to Fifth Avenue School, where the younger Hereford was to become the first black child to enroll in an all-white school in Alabama. Dr. Hereford, a local physician, worked alongside other local civil rights pioneers to break away the racial barriers that existed throughout the city. Their group achieved this through peaceful means and earned their place in local history. In those moments when his faith and humanity were tested, Dr. Hereford kept his head pointed towards the sky, his feet moving forward, and always remained optimistic about Huntsville.
And it's ironic that the doctors that my parents selected to deliver me, that our paths was once again crossed again. He's had many conversations, and later he's told me about he's delivered almost over 2,000 kids, and he was starting to do backgrounds of it. And he ran across me. He remembered delivering me. Of course, I didn't remember that. He remembered delivering me. And what really touched my heart was Dr. Sonnie Hereford told me that he includes me in his speeches about the wonderful work of the kids he's delivered. And so now he's given me even an awesome work task and a reputation to live up to. But in all this, I want you to believe in who this school is being built for. This school is being built for kids who sleep popsicles before supper, who never find their shoes, for those who stare at photographers behind barbed wires, who can't run down the street in a new pair of sneakers, who will never count potatoes, who will never go to the circus, and who live in an X-rated world. But this school is for the kids who also bring us sticky kisses and a fistful of dandelions, who hug us in their hair and bring us there and forget their lunch money and call us for it. It's also for those who never have desserts or a safe blanket to drag behind them, who watch their parents watch them die, who can't find bread to steal, who don't have rooms to clean up, whose pictures aren't on anybody's dresses, whose monsters are real. This school is for children who spend their allowance before Tuesday, who go tangent in the grocery store, who pick at their food, who like ghost stories, who shove those dirty clothes under the bed, who never rinse out the tub, who gets visit from the tooth fairy and don't like to be kissed in front of the carpet. Also, this school is for those whose nightmares come in the daytime, who will not eat anything, who will never see a dentist, who aren't spoiled by anybody, who go to bed hungry and cry themselves to sleep, who live to move on and on without no being. We pay tribute to these kids who want to be carried and those who must be carried. We will never give up on them, and we will continue to give them chance after chance after chance. And for those who don't know it, Dr. Sonnie Hereford is one of those individuals that these children know this school is for them. He said in a couple of his speeches that in the school that he attended, it had no library. Well, Huntsville City Schools today will be presenting a state-of-the-art library for the children at Sonnie Hereford Elementary School. He said in the schools he had to attend, there were inadequate textbooks, but today we have laptops and iPads for every one of the children who reside in here in Huntsville City Schools. He said in his school there were no playgrounds, but in Sonnie Hereford Elementary School there will be 2 playgrounds and one for the special needs children in our community. He said in the school that he had to attend there were no science labs, but today in Sonnie Hereford Elementary Schools in 2016 there will be Project Lead the Way STEM classes in every grade. That's what we have here at Sonnie Hereford Elementary. Before I take my seat, I'll get a picture of you. I would like to thank the members of the Huntsville Board of Education and our Superintendent, Dr. Casey Rogers, because I did a lot of honors for me, but for approving this construction and providing the funds for our new.
So More to share. I asked him to tell me more. I won't tell you all that he shared, but I will give you a glimpse into his life. I was taken back to a time as I learned about an individual who has become a hero in the minds of many. A person who sacrificed his own sanity in a lot of situations for our humanity. Dr. Hereford shared with me how he was made to attend the medical society meetings a half hour after the white doctors had eaten, and not to turn his coffee cup up to ensure he was not served. After all, it was unacceptable for a black man to break bread or have coffee in the presence of white men. Dr. Hereford shared lessons about perseverance. He walked 7 miles to school. Some of us struggle with a block. He held 6 jobs as he worked his way through medical school. He had an eclectic selection of jobs, including a one-man's farmer's market, a babysitter for 3 children of all ages. He built buildings and worked in a laboratory. These jobs combined provided an opportunity for him to pay his tuition at A&M and later at Meharry Medical School. Some of the top 10 facts that Dr. Hereford shared: he delivered 2,200 babies in his lifetime, and half of them were by a lamplight, and one was on a Trailway bus. He was real talented. He finished college and medical school with 6 years. He met his sweetheart and wife, Martha Ann, when he worked at St. Margaret's in Hammond, Indiana. 58 years later, they're still together. That's perseverance. People who inspired Dr. Hereford included his parents, Dr. King, Jackie Robinson. Dr. Hereford's grandfather was born a slave, and he was 15 years old when he was emancipated and became a sharecropper. Dr. Hereford is surprised to learn that students today have the ability to learn full scholarships. He had to work his way to pay through college and medical school. He was a builder and recently visited a building he built on Redstone Arsenal. A doctor, a builder, architect, he had many talents and abilities. Dr. Hereford desired to become a painter. He decided on medicine when his teacher said, You are a black man in Alabama, and you will starve to death waiting for folks to buy your paintings. He became a doctor instead. Dr. Hereford enjoyed working with chemicals and owned a chemistry kit. Being a doctor allowed him to satisfy his desire for chemistry as well as his desire to interact with others. He graduated 2 out of 65 in his class from medical school, and he has an extensive curriculum vitae and has received many awards of distinction. Now that was my top 10, but Dr. Hereford this morning wanted me to be sure to let everyone know he's a member of the illustrious fraternity Omega Psi Phi. Words I would use to describe Dr. Hereford include committed, dedicated, humanitarian, a man with honor, integrity, and perseverance. We couldn't pick a better person for whom to name our school. I neglected to mention that he's also a movie star. His historical DVDs depict his life story and the impact he had on the civil rights movement. When he marched his 6-year-old son up to Fifth Avenue School to integrate, scenes from a civil rights journey were incorporated into another film entitled Mighty Times, The Children's March. This film won first place in the International Documentary Award. Future students who've taken a seat because they're tired. Dr. Hereford should be a daily reminder of the importance of getting an education and standing behind your beliefs. We must not let all that Dr. Hereford and others before him endured be in vain. Be focused and committed to getting an education so that you too may one day give back to society. It is with great pleasure that I introduce to some and present to others the civil rights leader and humanitarian for whom we will name our next school, Dr. Sonnie Hereford III. Please stand and join me in a big round of applause.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kugel. Good morning. And to Mayor Battle, Dr. Wadinsky, all of the other school members, all of the other council members, to my relatives, my friends, and all of you out there, I say hello. I'm excited today. I bet somebody's out there thinking right now, that guy was so excited he didn't sleep last night. I didn't. My family doesn't know it. I didn't sleep last night. I was awake all night long. Now, beside my wedding day and the birth of my children, this is the greatest day of my life. Now you're talking about celebrating. Okay. Next week, Wednesday, Christmas Eve. The exact day the next week is New Year's Eve. The exact day the next week is my birthday. I'm going to celebrate a long time. Now, they introduced me, Dr. Sonnie Hereford. I am the son of a preacher man, and my wife is a coal miner's daughter. Now, if you are concerned at all about my ethnicity, After long conversations with my ancestors, I've come to this conclusion. I may be off a millimeter or two. I'm about that much Native American, about that much Anglo-American, and about that much African American. Now, I wanted to mention a word about my grandfather. They say he was born a slave. He was born a slave, but he was a wise old man. When I was about this tall, he used to talk to me about life, and he said, if you want to get through life, now, always obey the law. Follow the golden rule. Try to help other people out. And he says it doesn't hurt to know folks in high places. Now, I want to express my sincere appreciation for every single individual who worked to make this day happen. I'm afraid to start calling names because you get into trouble. I've been there before. You get into trouble when you start calling names, you leave somebody's name out, and you're going to be in big trouble. So I just say, everybody who worked to make this happen, I certainly appreciate what they did. Now they tell me a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? They stole a little of my thunder when they told you about my school. Can you see this? That red dot you see in the middle is my school, Council High School. I see at least 3 people who attended that school with me. Is there anybody else in here besides Miss Teresa and Mrs. Bearden who attended that school with me? Is anybody else in here? Yes, there they are. There they are. That red dot is our school. That shaded part is the city dump. That's the truth. It's the city dump. Our school was right next to where the library is now. The library and all of its parking lot, the First Baptist Church and all of its parking lot was the city dump. Now imagine you sitting in that school trying to study in September or in May, no air conditioning. You got to have the windows up and they're burning trash outside. I looked in the health book on page 44. It said you should always get plenty of fresh air. That's the school I went to. Did not always get plenty of fresh air. Now they mentioned to you that they did not have a library. But what they didn't tell you, I could not use the public library. I was 32 years old before I was able to use my library where my father and my grandfather paid taxes all of their life. I could not use the library. Now, that school was surrounded on 3 sides by the city dump, like a horseshoe. Matter of fact, I call it the horseshoe phenomenon. They talked to you a while ago about my family, but you left out some of my family members. I want to mention their name now. Over here is Thomas Wellington Hereford. He's named after my brother and me. And over here, Mary Hereford, my great-great-grandson. And I certainly appreciate you coming out today. Some of you have come so far. My granddaughter, Beth, has come from Seattle, Washington. I have a friend over here, Mr. Al, brought his wife and family from Memphis. My daughter here came from Jackson, Tennessee, Little Martha. And my other daughter came from Vanderbilt. And they've all come a long way to see me today. Now, I didn't say anything about my wife yet. Getting ready to say that. I'm going to be in trouble when I get home. She doesn't like any accolades, any kind of fanfare, any kind of glory or anything. But I'm going to say this today. 60 years ago, I was just completing my medical training in Nashville. And I was thinking now, before I can open a practice, I'm going to have to spend at least 1 year in some hospital. Now, I had access to at least a dozen hospitals where I could have gone. But I made a decision to go to one in northern Indiana, right on the suburbs of Chicago. It was a no-brainer. When I looked at the salaries that they were paying the interns, and I saw this hospital was paying $100 more a month than any other hospital in the United States. It was a no-brainer. I went there. When I got to that hospital, I found out that they had a nursing school. Now, I just told you a picture's worth 1,000 words. They assigned me to a patient, and then there was a young nursing student who was assigned to that same patient. She had moved from Kentucky and had settled in the surrounding areas of Hammond, Indiana, and she had just graduated from Washington High School in East Chicago. The assignment to the same patient now, was that fate or was that divine intervention? We worked together on that patient almost 60 years ago, and we've been working together ever since. Now, we did many projects together. I'm going to just mention a few of them. In 1955, as I stated, we worked on that patient together. In 1956, we worked on a wedding together. In 1956, we also brought a medical clinic to Huntsville. Now, some of you are not going to believe this. When we opened our medical clinic in Huntsville, there were 54 doctors in Huntsville for all of Madison County. Can you believe that? 54 doctors for all of Madison County. So in 1956, we worked in the medical clinic, bringing quality medicine to Madison County, making house calls, delivering babies, some of them at home. 1957, we worked on another project. We decided to have an offspring. Now, I must admit, Martha did the most of the work on that. She did the heavy lifting. But now, let's be fair, I should at least get an assist. In 1962, Martha and I, along with a number of citizens that I see standing here right now, decided that we wanted to desegregate the public facilities in Huntsville. Oh, I forgot something. When I started talking about those projects, I should have said every single one has been successful. Every single one. So we decided to desegregate the public facilities in Huntsville. And we were successful. It took us 8 months, but we were successful to get it done. In 1963, Martha and I, along with a few other citizens, decided to desegregate the schools in Alabama. And they've been telling you all day we were successful with that, right? So, every project that we have worked on has been successful. Last March, I was diagnosed with a very, very serious medical condition. And Martha and I, along with our doctors and nurses, and the help of the Lord, started working on that. And we're about this close to having it lit. In closing, I want to say one thing to you, that one of my civil rights workers, 18 years old, said to me. And then a few years later, my son said the same thing to me. Identical words. And neither of these gentlemen know that the other one had said that to me. I had just finished an examination of an elderly lady in my office in 1962. And I was writing her prescription, and this is what she said to me. She said, "Dr. Hereford, I heard that you are leading the demonstrations downtown." She said, "And I heard that my nephew is working alongside you. Would you give him a message for me?" And I said, "Yes. Would you tell him that I say, if he doesn't stop all of this demonstrating and marching, he's going to come up dead?" And so when I saw that young man, I told him just exactly what she said. And he said, "Dr. Hereford, I don't know when I'm going to see her. Will you be seeing her again soon?" I said, "Yes, she'll be back in 4 or 5 days, get another examination." He said, "Dr. Hereford, please tell her this for me." He said, "In my thinking, if a man doesn't stand up and fight for what's right, he's already dead." An 18-year-old kid told me that. And then I said later on, Sonnie told me the same thing. I don't know if he even remembers saying it to me, but he told me the same thing. And so I thank you for coming out. And you can imagine how thrilled I was to look at all these youngsters here. They're going to be our doctors and nurses, and our superintendent, and our school principals, and I was in the future. And it just thrills my heart to know what you think of me, to honor me like this. I am just overwhelmed. Thank you.